because if you are in sales, you're going to use almost anything that can help you to retire the quota. I'm not saying it's everything, but it's almost everything, right? I'm talking about the legal borderline here. So it's definitely something that I think it's improving overall AI usage at the rapid pace across the board. And I've seen this also, the main concern with other AI like tools. I had a conversation recently with a Canadian accelerator, and most of these solutions were AI based, all of them across different industries. They're getting the same question, the same challenges like you described, right? Whether you are in healthcare, which is definitely something that people will be concerned in terms of the data, or you are in the HR, of course, right? But also in robotics, where the robots are using data and perform some tasks. That's definitely something that everyone is facing, but everyone has to do this cost and benefit analysis, and I think it's going to be in favor of buying it. So what are the other trends that you see on the market? I want to ask you, whether you see anything that is in the space of video recordings, coaching, sales enablement, deal intelligence that you're observing or following?
I think there's been lots of transformations in how sales teams are run and the tools that they're using at the moment in terms of their overall transformation. I mean, one that springs to mind as notable is moving from age-old cold calling, where you would dial each person individually across a whole list and you spend half the time with the ringer going before you get into a live conversation, to moving towards AI-driven parallel dialing solutions that will essentially call 10 people at once and drop you into the lobby for whoever answers, and then using nudges in a live cold call, similarly to how you'd have in our solution in a long form discovery meeting, and enabling you to connect to more people at scale. And then also being able to, deliver more pipeline and with less essential sales capacity and leaner high performance teams. So that's something that we're seeing. And we do have a hypothesis as to where sales will be heading. Right now, we're in the assisted selling remit. You're given the suggestions, but as a seller, it's up to you to hit that send button, to edit it and be that guardrail before it goes out to the customer. But what will come next is automated selling, where you have your digital sales twin who's trained based on all of your sales content, looks like you, sounds like you, the same talk track, voice, everything. And that's trained based on best practice sales. And your digital twin will then essentially be going into battle and selling for you. And our hypothesis is initially that'll start with lower annual contract values, which are akin to more self-serve motions at the moment. So let's say £200 to £500 a month. And as trust builds, because trust is the key thing right now in enterprise sales and why humans are required to be in play. As trust builds, then there'll be a higher ceiling to what your digital sales twin can actually sell. And we have a hypothesis that that could be a transition to the market over the next 5 or 10 years. But right now, we're firmly embedded on assisted selling. And we're looking closely and looking to innovate in the segment of autonomous selling and how that might shift the entire landscape when AI becomes at the same level and efficacy as real people in terms of its sales ability.
Do you think that there is a risk that this automated or autonomous selling might kill selling?
I think it has a risk of making it a lot more transactional
Hmm.
because you buy stuff, a primary reason is the relationship that you have, which is why startups are able to succeed against the incumbents. If you did a capabilities grid, most of the time the startup would lose. But they have edge and advantage in other areas, such as the relationship they have with the buyer and how they're able to position things. So it does have a potential risk of getting more transactional, where you essentially just everything turns into a business case, cost versus revenue. But it would be adding the human component into that in some capacity. So that's something to watch out for. And that's why I think it will start at the transactional sales piece, the volume-based selling with lower
Hmm.
ACVs, where it is more driven around high volume transaction and then potentially move up the food chain over time.
It's like right now in the self-service world, you're not product-led growth or whatever you want to call it. You're not getting sales support. So like, who's going to turn down their nose? You're getting like chat support, but I think most people will be open to it.